Hello, my name's Mark Harmer, and I brought you to this very, very old church in Wales to talk you through how I arrange a particular piece of music. In this case, it's a piece called Parry's Delight, which was written, or collected, should I say, in the 1800s by the Welsh harpist John Thomas. Before I go any further, I'd like to actually play you the piece as it's written, a single line of melody. I think with arranging music, I have to ask myself quite a few questions. And the first question I might ask myself is actually, why arrange that at all? It's very beautiful just as it is, as a melody. And so I tend to approach any arranging task like this with a lot of humility, and I spend a lot of time just living with the music and deciding, is it right for me to arrange it? Is it something I can live with, perhaps leave for a later time? Or is it something that actually I can enhance and perhaps present and yet not obscure the beauty of the original tune? So that's what I'm aiming for. With this particular piece, there are a couple of things that spring to mind when I hear it. First of all, it doesn't actually go anywhere in terms of harmony. It stays rooted around the F, all the way through. It doesn't go anywhere else harmonically. So a fairly simple accompaniment is called for, I think. The other thing, and the other reason why I brought you to this church, is that the piece reminds me of church bells. It reminds me of ringing church bells. And so part of the idea behind the way I arranged it was to give you the idea of church bells. Finally, I think there's a quality about this piece which is rather interesting in that it seems to carry on, it just carries on at an even pace right the way through. It's a lovely piece, it just carries on like a piece of almost perpetual motion. So first, going to the church bells idea, I suppose the most obvious thing one could do is think of what else church bells do. They toll, they just ring regularly. And so an accompaniment as simple as that could be all you need for a piece like this. Let's see. And that's perfectly lovely, as it is. Sometimes I might miss out a note like I did there, so sometimes I would have the note ringing regularly, sometimes I would miss one out so that the whole pace of the tolling bell in the bass would slow down. But that's a lovely thing to do, and even just that, plus the melody on its own, might be enough to make a beautiful arrangement. The other thing that struck me was it might be really nice to play this melody not with an octave, but a tenth apart, like this. Now, the problem with that is that you end up getting into a bit of a sort of harmonic cul-de-sac if you're not careful. But to be able to fill in some of the harmonies at that distance, a tenth apart like this, is very nice. And all I've done with my arrangement is I've chosen to do it on certain notes, and on certain notes I don't bother. So have a listen and see what I'm doing with my left hand. And I'll play my left hand a bit louder so you can hear what's going on here. There's something else that I decided to do, which I really like, which is to keep the left hand going as if it actually overruns the right hand by a couple of beats. So it's almost as if the bells are running in a canon, with one running after the other. I think that's a great effect. Once you've done that, it's relatively easy to think of other things you could do, because you don't have to have the left hand below the right hand. One of the great advantages of the harp over, say, the piano is that your hands don't have to be one above the other musically. They could actually be in the same place or even crossed over. And you can do that quite easily on the harp. Let's demonstrate. If I actually play them in the same register as each other, this is what it sounds like. And one other magical thing you could do would be to actually put the left hand higher than the right. Again, very, very easily done on the harp. I don't have to do anything different with the hand, apart from literally move it an octave higher. And this starts to sound magical because it gives the melody, if I play my left hand very quietly, it gives the melody a lovely sound quality, almost as if I'm just enhancing the sound of the melody, not actually accompanying it, but just adding a little commentary above it. Have a listen. So, that idea of doing the melody a tenth apart, of doing that little bit that carries on, of doing the tolling bells, and of actually having the melody on its own, are all things that I've incorporated in this arrangement of Parry's Delight by John Thomas, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.